All right, what is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 7 here of DPF on Tap. We have a little bit of a change today. We're not in the garage because it was roughly 92 degrees. So we're all doing it remote. We have Dugan with us from his homestead and John from the Johnstead. So hopping into it, giving you an overview of what we're going to be talking about today. So we're going to go through the Phillies and Orioles. We're going to look ahead to the Pirates series, as well as the upcoming 4 games against the Marlins. We're going to talk a little bit about trade deadline. We're going to talk about games we played as kids, different types of ball games and things that we may remember as kids. And, we're curious to see, as we're going through that segment, what you played or maybe what you called the games as you were going through. We're going to talk about our favorite Philly ever. All time, doesn't have to be a star, can be a star. None of us know who our person is. We're going to have John go through the minor leaguer of the week. We'll do our Phil's Make Me Drink segment. Then we'll have a wrap up. So we'll jump into the Phil's and Orioles. It was nice to win 2 out of 3. Winning series is what I'm looking for. It would have been nice to sweep. I felt we were there. There's a couple of stats that I want to throw out there, and I think that these are really important. So I am not a fan of Schwarber hitting first, but I will say that the Phillies are 30-20 when he's batting first, and lifetime when he's batting first for the Phillies, they are 99-74. So I had a look, I was like, I thought that's a 99. Yeah, 99-74. So I get it. I think that discussion of I don't want him first, it's never going to happen. I think Schwarber's number 1 forever. Now, I want to turn to the guy who sat the last game, so Turner. Turner, and I cannot believe this because this did not make any sense. I double-checked. Please fact-check me. He's hitting 150 this year against fastballs that are 95 miles per hour or higher. Like, how is that possible? Is he waiting on another pitch? Is he getting old, young, and his bat's slowing down? Overall, at all fastballs, 4-seam fastballs, he's hitting 194. You got to hit the fastball, dude. Like, that's number 1. He's swinging at 10. His swing and miss rate is 10% more this year than it is any other previous year. So, that worries me. And the other thing that I kind of thought was interesting is Stott's 300, right? The only player that's kind of like looking like he might even end up as 300. So since 2008, there was only 2 players on the Phillies that ever hit 300 or over, and it was Ben Revere and Harper in 21. Stott does not perform well in the first spot, and it would seem like he's an ideal guy. Takes a lot of pitches. I feel like he sees 10 pitches every time he's up there. It's amazing, but he hit 259 in the 1 hole as opposed to what he's doing now. So I guess leave Stott alone, maybe move him up and down a little bit, but I don't see him as number 1. And then the final point that I kind of want to make is we're coming up upon the Noah Song thing. This dude, I don't want a guy that's just sitting there like Kobe, that's just a nobody. This is a playoff supposed team. This guy pitched 11 innings, had 11 walks. I don't want him coming up in a mop-up role when we're up by 8 because I'm not feeling good about it. Or if we're down by 8, I don't really care as much, but I don't feel good about it either. So, I'll flip it over to Dugan and give me your thoughts on the series of the Orioles and what you had.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think Sunday morning when we talked, we were pretty down on the Phillies with the way the Brewer series and the start of that Cleveland series went. We got a pretty nice outing overall from Nola. A little shaky early, still having issues giving up home runs against Cleveland, but the Phillies were able to battle back and get themselves a win there. Super happy with taking 2 or 3 from the Orioles. The Phillies seem to be a team that plays up to their competition. I mean, they went down to Tampa a few weeks ago, go down, sweep the Rays, who were at first place at that point, take 2 or 3 from the Orioles, who are currently in first place in the AL East. But this was a series where they could have swept, and they should have swept. And I know it's great. You win 2 out of 3, but I'm tired of giving away games that are winnable games. That first game, a 3-2 loss, I mean, they wasted. They wasted Christopher Sanchez. Great freaking start. 7 innings, 2 runs, 8 Ks. The guy's pitching to an ERA under 3 right now. Giving them quality innings, and they just don't seem to win when he pitches. I don't understand it. He's been great. If we all remember, that's the game Turner had 2 errors early in that game. Then he ends up getting ejected. So you could see Turner's frustration starting to boil over with the way his season has gone so far, which I like. I'm glad. Be mad, and be better. That's what I want to see from Turner, because I think he's too damn good of a ball player to be playing the way that he is right now, and I want to see him get pissed off. And I'm hoping the day off yesterday, coupled with the day off today, he's got a couple days to get off his feet, relax, maybe get out of his own head, and start being the Trey Turner that we know he's capable of being. And we saw him do to the Phillies all those years, when he was with Washington. Also in that first game, I mean, how does Topper not challenge that ball that Rojas hit the center field? How do you not challenge that as a manager? At least come out of the dugout and start asking questions. Like, it was a 0-0 game at that point. Could have been a leadoff double to start the bottom of the third, in a big series against a competitive Orioles team. So bad move by Topper there, not coming out and challenging that, and the excuse is piss poor. Oh, we didn't get the replay in time. I mean, watching it live, you knew Hicks. He rolled over. You knew the ball was out of his body, that he was trying to hide it. You just challenge it for the sake of challenging at that point. Also in that loss, Sosa had the opportunity to bunt a couple guys over late in that game, and he looked like a T-ball player trying to bunt. I mean, it was terrible. Major leaguer looking like that bad trying to bunt. And I know these guys are throwing 95 plus, but it's your job. Do your job. Get the bunt down, and put your team in a better position to win. And then Topper again, not pinch running for Schwarber in the 8th inning with Marsh on the bench. I know Schwarber ends up scoring, so the running the bases becomes a non-factor. But you saw that play. I mean, hat off to Schwarber for the effort. The guy went a long way, dove for the ball. But that's a ball. If Marsh is out in left field, he's standing waiting to catch it, and we're going extra innings. Yeah. So again, that's a winnable game that they lost. Overall, our starting pitching, other than that Sanchez game, wasn't dominant, but both Walker and Suarez battled their asses off and gave us some pretty good innings without their best stuff. But I think the biggest thing positive that you take away from that series is Phillies were 10 for 21 with runners in scoring position. That's a 476 batting average with runners in scoring position. That's something we need to see more of. A lot of 2-out RBIs in that series with Bohm, Stott, Harper picking up 2-out hits, driving in runs. That's the things that winning ball clubs do. And they did it against a really good Orioles team. So hopefully, the next couple series coming up are against, some of the weaker teams in baseball with the Pirates. And I think we got the Royals out there and the Nationals. This is a real opportunity for this team to start piling up the wins, Yep. What do you got, John?
Yeah, I thought it should have been a sweep, to be honest. But like you said, a couple points you brought up about not pinch running for Marsh. You already said that, and also not challenging that play. I just thought that was just a numbskull thing. Like, and the excuse was just piss poor. Like, everybody in the whole damn stadium could see it came out of his glove. But we just took 2 games off one of the best teams in the American League, so I'll take it. And like you said, Sanchez pitched a hell of a game, and the other pitchers fought. Like, it was more of the bats. It was more of the bats didn't really come. I mean, they came through. We won 2 of 3, but I would have liked to see more runs, because their starters really don't scare you, right? Like the Orioles, they don't have like a fearful start rotation, but their bullpen is very good, and their lineup can come back at any time and strike back. So to get 2 of 3, I'll take it. And like you said, we got some weak opponents coming up. We got to capitalize. But overall for the weekend, I was satisfied. We took two, from one of the best teams in the American League. So I mean, I'll take it, and hopefully we can do that this weekend or even better.
Are you guys concerned with Ranger Suarez?
A little bit, yeah.
I
And
am,
that's
but
my
I'm
guy.
not. Yeah, I am, but I'm
Yeah,
not. Just because
I'm
I think
kind of like, yeah,
I think he's had his moments where he seems to have lost it. But I mean, after early on in that game last night, I thought he really settled in the middle innings and looked like the old Ranger. Like he was dominant until he kind of ran out of gas there to start the seventh inning. But I thought, after a shaky start, he looked like he's rounding back into himself. And I think
Yeah.
if he can give you 6 innings of 4 runs with this offense, that's a winnable game.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we'll look ahead now. Got the Pirates coming up for 3. It's got to be a sweep. Anything less than a sweep is a failure, honestly. I mean, the first game, they have their best pitcher going, but we got ours. So Wheeler's going. I'm wondering if Pittsburgh starter is going to switch uniforms while we're over there, and he's going to be one of the guys maybe we pick up. Because I think that's happened before, where
Yep.
Joel Youngblood pitched or played for the Giants and the Expos and halves of the doubleheader. And then the Marlins. So I was doing like that meme where you're like calculating 1,000 things. Like, who are we going to see? Are we going to see Alcantara? Normally you think that's a bad thing, but to me, that's a good thing. The Phillies have just handled this dude, and he hasn't been Sandy Alcantara. His last outing was awesome. But prior to that, he's not been good. His ERA's in the high to mid 4s. I don't think we're going to see Luzardo, which I'm happy that we're not going to see. I think he's the guy we're going to miss. I think. I'm not 100% positive. Left-hander, Phillies just don't do well against left-handers. And other than that, there are 2 other pitchers. Like, I'm not super concerned. It's like the Luzardo that I'm concerned with, and it's Alcantara. I still think you have to gain ground on them. I don't want to come out kissing my sister. I want to win 3 out of 4 there. And anything. So, on this next 7 games, I'm basically saying that like 6-1 is what I'm expecting. And, I'm going to say something here that may sound a little crazy. I don't think the NL East is out of reach if we're playing these bad teams. I know that we're 10 games out, but I don't know. Teams have been more than 10 games out around this time. And if they go on that run and we're not playing great teams, the rest of the year, it's not a very difficult schedule as compared to the other teams. Maybe we got our tough ones in the beginning, but I'd really love to see 6-1 on that. So I'll flip it up to John and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I think Pirates should be a sweep. For some silly ass reason, it's the 2023 Phillies. I think we're going to take 2 of them. I'm hoping for a sweep. It should be. It should be a sweep. I think we're going to. I just have some feeling we got Wheeler and Keller. I mean, we should win that game. And like you said, that could be an audition right there for Keller. I mean, he could be on. He's on the block. From what I've heard.
Philly scouts were out at his games the past 2 from
Yeah.
what I read today. So,
and you got Nola versus Priester. Priester got rocked his debut last week.
mhm.
So, but then you don't know which Nola you're going to get. I'm hoping you would get a good Nola on the road versus in that park. That's a hitter-friendly park, though. If he's serving up a couple meatballs, who knows? But and I'm kind of confident in Sanchez versus Rich Hill. Like, I'm pretty confident there. But I think I'm not predicting either one or whatever. But I'm thinking like we kicked their ass in one game, and then like we're ahead in one game, and they call their way back and they get their one win, and then we just win like a close one. For some reason I feel like we're gonna be fighting ourselves more than we're fighting them in one of these games. But I'm hoping for a sweep, but I say 2 of 3. Florida, like you said, Alcantara and Luzardo are the only ones I'm scared of. I'm not scared of anybody else. They sent Yuri Perez down because his mileage. They were afraid of too many innings. He's only 20 years old,
Mhm.
so thank God we don't have to face them. I'm not really scared of their lineup. It's just somehow they got our number most of the time. So we got to figure out a way around that. We just got to play our game. We got to start hit. I mean, our bats got to come alive, and our pitching just has to do their job. But
Yeah.
I
John,
I
you're
like to.
going to be in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes, I'll be in Pittsburgh this weekend for Fridays and Saturdays game. So
Cool.
anybody out there, if you see me, say hi, and I'll be in the full costume.
That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually leaving tomorrow morning early. We'll check in the afternoon, and we're going for tomorrow night's game and Saturday's night's game, and then we head home Sunday. Hoping to get another picture with me tits too, like I did last year.
He's
Awesome.
such a nice guy too in person. It's terrible that we hate him.
He
Because he really
he
is a
he,
nice dude. He
he
really,
definitely
really
is a nice
is.
guy. We called him, and my uncle was like, "You mind taking a picture?" And I had my black drunk Phil's fan t-shirt. You've seen the picture, and
Yeah.
and I put my I like I love my Phillies, but I like young up and coming ball players. I grabbed it. It's my tradition in each away city to grab like a t-shirt and a hat, even if it's the other team. Just I was there, so I grabbed a cruise jersey, like a t-shirt jersey and a hat. And he sees it through the bag. He's like, O'Neill Cruz, eh? And I'm like, well, yeah, no, 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 T Mac. I was about to call meat sets. I almost stumbled. I was like, no, T Mac. I was like, I'm a big Philly fan. I just like the kid. It's a tradition. He's like, oh, okay. We took the picture, and I'm like, this. I was like, meat sets probably thinks I'm an asshole. But yeah, this should be fun. It's a beautiful park.
Yeah. Cool. Dugan, I know you did a lot of homework, so I'm excited to hear what you got for us.
Yeah, I kind of looked ahead even further past this Pirates and Marlins series because the Phillies are starting this series with the Pirates tomorrow, and then they play 17 straight games without a day off. So you got the three coming up with the Pirates right now. They're 10 back in the wild card, 45 and 57. I'm with you, Chris. I would love a sweep. I would love a sweep. 2-1 at the least. I mean, you can't lose this series. You have to win this series against the Pirates. You got the line, the rotation set up with your top two guys throwing, and maybe your hottest pitcher in Sanchez in the third game. So you gotta take this series at least two. I would love three. The Marlins half game back for the Phillies right now in the wild card for 4 games. Phillies are only 2-4 against the Marlins this year, but that's a song we've been hearing for a long time where they've just had our number.
Yep.
But I mean, you're going to go in there. It looks like it would probably be Wheeler Suarez or Walker Suarez, and then Wheeler again in that series, and Nola in those 4 games. So split at the minimum. Try and get 3 in that series. Then you start going into the Royals, a 3-game series at home against the Royals. 29 and 75, 28 and a half games out of the American League wild card. That team is just straight up garbage, and you need to treat them that way and just kick them to the curb like it's Thursday morning and the trash man's coming and get 3 wins. Just go in there, it's going to be a home series. Sweep their asses right out at Citizens Bank. Then you roll into a 4-game series against the Nationals. Playing a little bit better ball recently. The Nationals still last place in the division, 12 back in the wild card, but we're playing 500 balls so far this year against them, 3-3. Again, got to take at least 3 out of 4 in that series. And then you run into the Twins, who are in first place, but they're kind of they're the Twins. They're the middle of the road. They're
the
the
Guardians,
Twins.
the Twins. That whole AL Central is not good.
Yeah, that whole garbage division.
Yeah, so you got 3 games against them. Hopefully, you take 2 out of 3, or a sweep. So I mean, in these 17 games, I think at a minimum, the Phillies need to go 12-5. That's what I'm looking at. 12 wins out of the 17. That's a minimum. Right now, 7 of those games on the road, the Phillies are playing dead 500 ball on the road. They're 27 and 27 on the road. The 10 of them are at home. They're playing .583 ball at home, 28-20. So it would be nice to pick up those 12 wins and start making at least 12 wins and really start distancing ourselves from some of these wild card pretenders that we're all bunched up with now. I looked a little further. Like we had talked, Chris, you and I were talking about how much better the Phillies have been playing since the end of May. And they went 18-8 in June, and so far through July, they're 12-9. So 30-17 since June 1st, 638 winning percentage. If they were to keep that pace, I think that would put us on a pace to win like 93 games this season. Okay. You know, which I'm sure gets you in the wild card at 93 wins. Yep. Tough to keep up. You know, 638 winning percentage, but they have the right teams ahead of them to win, you know, all these series and possibly sweep some of these series. And that's what they have to do. They just got to start piling up these wins.
Yep. Cool. All right. I'm going to go to some like viewer comments now, and I'll try to bring them up on the screen. So Garrett's present as always. Thank you. You're accounted for. We appreciate you, Garrett. Steve, what up, DPF family? So Steve is the one who gave me the piece of the Veterans Stadium rock that he cultivated himself. Like he actually archaeologically went under the fence and grabbed that for me. So Steve's awesome. And his wife made those cookies with FTM and bases loaded, the DPF cookies for our Christmas gathering. So that was cool. Must sweep the Pirates. We're in agreement here. Yeah. Josh, great human robot tee. So that's where this t-shirt's from. It's Human Robot. They're Pullet Mobby. So it's a Czech beer. It can come like in a regular mug, or they'll do the side pull, which is pretty cool too. One of those milk tubes. I tried one, and I didn't get the taste of it, so I had like 5 or 6 more after that, and I kind of got the feeling of it. So that was.
If at first you don't succeed, try.
Yeah, I just you got to have some stick-to-itiveness.
Law of averages.
With 60 games left, you win 2 out of 3. That's 40 wins and 95 total. Just take care of your own damn business. Steve, we're all on the same page here. That is, I couldn't complete 2 out of 3. And if it's a 4-game series, 3 out of 4. So let's just win series from here on out. The replay coach's issue, not the manager. I agree with that. Like, who gives the final say to like do the replay? I don't know. I know that there's our bench coach is like looking at it or on the phone, but I tend to agree with that. But we were a little bit mad about Thompson, so we're going to blame him still. Do you give Turner one more shot in the 2-hole? If you cannot hit, would you put Bohm there? So I'm just going to go around quickly on this one. My opinion is like, I don't know if Schwarber's going to be 1. I probably, I'm going to give Turner another shot at 2. And if not, I'm going to very quickly make that change, and that exact change. Dump Turner down to 6 or 7 and move Bohm up to 2 and see how it goes. When you're messing with one person, you're messing with 2 people, and Bohm's doing well. So I'm like, we're still winning with Turner shitting the bed. So why mess with 2 people? I'm more like, let Turner work it out. But, Chris, what do you think about this?
I agree. I would probably give Turner the next 2 series on the road, little less pressure, won't have the home fans booing him every time he grounds out or chases a ball in the dirt. So I'd give him the next 2 series to see how he produces, coming off a couple days off, an ejection. Great. And is back. But Bohm's the perfect 2-hitter, in my opinion. He's got that inside-out swing, hits the ball to right field a lot. So that gives you an opportunity, maybe not with Schwarber to go first to third, but if Rojas or the 9-hitter Marsh or somebody's on base, to go first to third on Bohm's base hits. And I would see Turner fitting kind of nicely in a 6 or 7 spot. And kind of being a guy that maybe then can be like a second leadoff guy to turn the lineup over down there 6 or 7. But I love Bohm. I love his approach to bat. And I don't think I think you can put him anywhere, and he's not going to change his approach to be like a right center type hitter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the idea. I'd give Turner maybe the next 7 games on this road trip. John?
Cool. John?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you were saying. I agree with give Turner a little bit of a more chance. If I'm gonna say this, but if Harper wasn't already like the 3-hole guy, I wouldn't mind Bohm there either. Bohm in the 3 slot, but I kind of like him in that 2 slot. But, and as Chris was saying earlier about Schwarber, and I know we're not talking about Schwarber, but Schwarber in the leadoff spot. I mean, someone brought it up on sports radio earlier. Turner only got like 14 games to try and lead off out. Like they really didn't give him like a. I wouldn't mind like trying Turner out at the leadoff and throwing Bowman to second and see what happens there. Dropping Schwarber, mix it up a little bit. Give Schwarber a chance to drive in some runs. Actually, you know what I mean? Like maybe you might in like a cleanup or 5th spot, not too far, but you know what I mean in that realm.
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't mind Bowman being in the 2 spot at all.
It
Yeah.
sounded like today too when Topper was questioned about Turner that he's not married to him staying in the 2-hole. He knows he has to start producing or he's going to have to get dropped just because
Right.
we need some production out of that spot in the lineup. So
Yep. So we're going to move over into trade talks. And, I feel like we've talked about this and, you think July is like the trade month, but it ends up being like 3 days and it's now at the very end. Is this team still in it? Are they not in it? Are they sellers? Are they not? So the couple of things that the things that I want to talk about that I think are important. I still don't know what Alvarado is doing. Is he hurt? I know he got a cortisone shot and that's never a good thing. And Sir Anthony just came back. Is he sharp enough? Sir Anthony against left-handers absolutely gets destroyed. He has to figure that out. And Soto, he's a Jekyll and Hyde. He's on, him and Nola must kind of throw together one good outing, one horrendous outing. And Kimbrel's been good. I mean, I agree with putting him in a tie game at home in the 9th. But again, the adrenaline's a little bit different than having the lead. I just want arms in the back end, and I don't trust anything in the minor leagues. I don't see Song doing this. And I don't know exactly who that is. I think that I would probably stand pat for the most part. I'm willing to roll the dice and see what Cave and Rojas, Muzziotti, whoever it is going to be up there, and let's see how that can work. I would like to see another pitcher just because injuries happen. I feel like they're thin there as starter, I mean. But I really think you got to focus on the bullpen. Phillies, if their offense is good, we're not kind of having this talk about the bullpen as much, but in an ideal situation, 5-game series, you want to win the first 3 games, right? And they're normally close. So what if you use your Sir Anthony, Soto, and Kimbrel in the first 2, and it's a 3-2 game going into the 7th and the next one, and none of them are available? Well, what the fuck do you do then? Like, we don't have anyone else that I would say, oh, yeah, I trust he'd come in. I mean, I guess it's like Sanchez or whoever your 5th starter is, to kind of like what they did with Suarez at times. But I think the bullpen is like the key because our starters are strong enough to get us through 5 or 6. Our offense is good enough to get us, some runs. But I think these are going to be close games. And the difference between a good team and a great team is the 1-run games. And right now the Phillies are middling in that. They're kind of winning their share, but late, but they're not kind of like holding that lead all the way through. And I think that's in part to the bullpen. The trades that have been made, I mean, it's nonsense. Like, who gives a shit? Santana, we were talking about this before. It's these nothing teams. The Brewers get Santana. Okay, well, that's great. Like, that's like one of these Midwest teams that just, the Brewers can say, well, we did something. Say we did something. The Dodgers, I don't know what the hell they're doing. They're like stocking up on shortstops and infielders. But that's the weirdest thing I've ever saw. But I guess since they lost Turner, they don't have that guy and they're not trusting who they have. But Rosario and Kike, I always, when I see him, I think Kiko Garcia of the Phillies. So before I move on I'll switch it to Dugan. Kiko Garcia was the only player from the 83 Phillies that did, played a lot of time with them, but did not get in any playoff games whatsoever. He was on the roster, just never played. So,
Got it.
yeah.
Fun
So
fact.
go ahead. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. So trade deadline. I think last time we talked, I was pretty adamant that I wasn't interested in starting pitching. I thought our starting pitching was pretty strong and good enough to sustain us. Kind of changing my mind a little bit. I'm kind of flip-flopping on that. And it kind of goes back to something you just mentioned, Chris. I saw a name today that the Phillies have been linked to, and it makes a lot of sense. He's Eduardo Rodriguez from the Tigers. Left-handed starter. He's 6-5 with an ERA around 2.95. You got the Dombrowski connection with the Tigers being there. Left-handed starter. He intrigues me a little bit because I think if you can get a guy like him and add him to the rotation, put Sanchez in the into the bullpen, if and when we make it to the playoffs, you have that Ranger Suarez option to put him in the bullpen, and he can kind of be like that role he played last year, where he was coming in late inning situations. He closed the one game for them. He gives you a really good bullpen option when you shorten the rotation down to 4 starters. Still would love to have a right-handed outfielder. It's the same names that we keep hearing. I know John and I have been going back and forth about possibility of a Hunter Renfroe or an Adam Duvall. I like Teoscar Hernandez as well as a right-handed bat with some pop. But I do think the key to this team and the main focus should be the bullpen. I think there's arms available, a lot of arms with closing experience, so can be used in the 6th, 7th, 8th innings, 9th innings of close ball games. You talked earlier about a guy from the Pirates possibly just walking across to the other clubhouse, and they've got their closer, David Bedard, who is on the block, and he's thrown the ball really well this year on a team that really isn't going anywhere. So I'd love to see a guy like that. Another lefty out in Seattle, Paul Seward, having a nice season out there, closer experience. Jordan Hicks from the Cardinals, flamethrower. He could be had. He had that little meltdown last year in the playoffs against the Phillies, but he's a guy who throws 100 plus, righty 100 plus. Josh Hader's on the market.
Do you think that the Padres are going to get rid of Snell or
I think
what if Snell came here after he hit Harper in the face?
Harper will be choking him. It'll be reverse Papelbon. He'll be choking him out in the dugout. And the one guy that I don't even want to mention, but I'm going to just so I can say fuck the Mets, is David Robertson. Fuck him and fuck the Mets. So, but I am interested in this Eduardo Rodriguez talks because I think it does give some possible movement with the rotation come playoff time, where you could kind of make Suarez a double agent a little bit and pitch out of the bullpen some games and spot start here and there. So
if one of our guys gets hurt, I don't know what the fuck is behind him. Literally.
Yeah. Right.
I have no idea who the next man up is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who is it?
It's a good point.
Not a goddamn opener. I don't want that.
Yeah. It's a good point. John, what do you got?
Nick Nelson.
Nick Nelson he's been starting at Lehigh.
He's in Double-A, right?
I think isn't he a Triple-A?
Triple-A, I think, yeah.
Okay, he got moved up. Okay. Yeah, I was Rodriguez is on my radar as you said, as a starter. I thought most of the White Sox rotation was on the radar, but Giolito went to the Angels, as we know. But I mean,
and they're saying Cease is probably untouchable.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I've been hearing they're not going to deal Cease, so that leaves like what Chris was saying last week, like Lance Lynn, like a Lance Lynn kind of guy.
Garbage.
If you want like a starter, you're gonna have to like kind of pretty much look around the league and see who's not see who's going to be a seller, see who's not, is going to be out of it pretty much and not going to be making a run. I would like another starter. Maybe if we did pick up another starter, maybe put Sanchez in the pen. I mean, that's an idea. But as far as like you were saying, Dugan, I'm thinking I'm thinking if the Angels are going for it now or trying to make a run, I realistically don't see them getting out of the West at all. But hey, let them do what they want to do. But I don't see them selling Hunter Renfroe to anybody if they're going to make the run because that's an important piece for little run. But I mean, I see Boston selling now. They're selling, Kike's going or whatever. I, I I still try to get Duvall. Why not?
Yeah.
Right-handed power bat. You know, like it's what you need. And I think we need at least one or two bullpen guys. I was looking at what's it called? I don't know. I was just thinking out of the box here, but what about Helsley from the Cards? If the Cardinals are selling, you can grab him, and even if you don't keep Kimbrel next year, that's your closer for the next couple of years. To
Yeah.
bring him in, try to get another guy. I mentioned a couple weeks ago Amir Garrett, but he just got signed by Cleveland on a minor league deal, so there goes that. But I was thinking about him, but Ryan Tepera just got dropped by the Cardinals. I don't know if that would help us or not. He was pretty much getting smoked for a while, so I don't know about that. But yeah, I would like a fifth starter, but I mean, if they think Sanchez is a guy, but like Chris said, if someone gets hurt, like what the hell do we do? Can't go get Bailey Falter. McGarry's been Abel's been like there's no one really lighting it up. I mean, and Kirk Green, he's not ready. Like he's nowhere near ready to like come right up. I mean, so I mean, I wouldn't mind getting a fifth starter, but that's what they got to think of. If someone gets hurt, we're fucked pretty much.
I mean,
And
one of the Eduardo things that was intriguing is that he's on a 5-year deal and he's on the second year and he's on an opt-out. So there's no guarantee that he would come back here, and he's going to want massive money. So I think they're just getting and not that because I think he might be the right guy too. It's just I don't think they're getting that Nola replacement that we kind of want to, right? Because I don't see any of these dudes out there that are locked in, because I don't know if anyone's worth giving up. And I'll give up anything, honestly. I don't care if we win the World Series. I'll give up any of these dudes in the minors. I don't care. It's now. It's not 5 years from now, and we may never be back here because you kind of know how this goes. The one thing that people didn't bring up, and I'm against this dude, but a stat that astounded me was Cody Bellinger absolutely fucking mashes left-handers. I did not know this. His OPS against left-handers is 1.043. So if you think, oh, we need a right-hander, I don't know. Maybe Cody Bellinger's the right dude, because if he's mashing
that was my
lefties,
guy last week. Yeah, that was my guy last week. I thought the versatility of all three outfield positions and first base, and the way he's hitting the ball this year. I mean, he's back to that what he was, early on with the Dodgers. And I think he's on a 1-year deal with the Cubs. So I don't know how much you're going to have to give up to get him. And he's a guy, then you can reevaluate the end of the year. Do you want to make an attempt to re-sign him, or not? But no, I think he would be perfect. I mean, it does make us a little more left-handed in the lineup. But like you said, if he's hitting lefties that way, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who gives a
Give
shit?
him Jeeves. Give him Derek Jeeves Hall.
Jeeves.
Ending the kind of trade talks, I want to put something out there to each of you guys. If Paul the Pope Owens came down and said, you can either get an offensive person, a starting pitcher, or a reliever, what are you doing? The Phils can only make one move. John, what are you doing?
One move?
One move. Bullpen, starting pitcher, or offense?
I'd go offense
Okay. Dugan?
because I think.
Go ahead, John. Go ahead, finish your
Yeah,
thought.
yeah.
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say, because I think like the starting pitching isn't really like great, but it's enough to get by. I think, and the bullpen's been strong all year, so I'm confident in them. So what we need is another bat. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
No, you're good, man. Good thought. I'm 100% going bullpen. I think the starting pitching is good enough to get us there and to get us through. I think the offense, like we've been saying, if the top five guys produce
Yeah,
like they're supposed to, they're good enough. It's a good enough offense, more than good enough offense. It was nice to see Harper hit a home run in this last series. I know, the power's not there with that elbow. I'm sure he's struggling to get some extension, that he needs to hit for power. But if Turner can bounce back after a benching and a couple days off, and Stott and Bohm keep doing what they're doing, the offense is good enough. And I'm with you, Chris. I don't think you can have enough bullpen arms when it comes to playoff time, because you see the way these guys manage these games. Even like your ace, they're looking in the fifth inning to get them out of there after they've been through the lineup two times. They don't want
Yep.
them going a third time against these lineups, especially when you turn to playoffs. So you need studs coming from the fifth inning, sixth inning, seventh inning. You need 5 or 6 guys in the back of that bullpen that can come in and pitch in high leverage situations, no matter what inning it is in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all in on bullpen.
All right, cool. So I'm going to flip over to our next topic, and we're just going to go around the horn and kind of talk about games we played as kids, different ball games. So I grew up in Northeast Philadelphia, Oxford Circle, Somberdale section. When our houses, like we had a driveway in between the houses, so you could go in your, back door, and some people had garages there, garage doors. So at some point, my parents, got their basement done, and it was a rec room. But what was awesome about that time for me was the garage door went away, and it was a brick wall. So, I was a pitcher growing up, loved just throwing the ball. So if you go by that house today still, and I, recently have, not terribly nice, but you can still see the outline of the, kind of K box there. That's really interesting to me. So I loved playing wiffle ball. And what we would do is, like if I would talk to any of my friends that we played with at that time, you always know the rules. It's, a ground ball to the bottom of the kitchen window is the one that was facing out on where you're hitting against. That was a single. From the bottom of that to like the cable wire was, a double. And then there was the cable wire, then there was the electric wire. In between there was a triple. Over that was a home run. And if you put it on the roof, you're a fucking asshole. Because you fucking
Gypsy,
ruined the
I
game.
called gypsies on that ball.
Yeah, and then when the roofers would come around in the summer, like, oh my God, that was like one of the greatest days of the year for me, because I would just be like, yo, is there any balls up there? Throw them down. They'd all have tar on them and shit, but man, a ball's a ball. We would like have those plastic helmets, and we would emulate the other people's batting stances, hitting left-handed or right-handed. I loved Rod Carew, like batting like him, kind of slumped over the left-handed. You didn't hit a home run as Carew either. Like you just had to slap one the other way.
Line
Like
drives,
you had to
man.
keep it,
Line
yeah,
drives.
had to keep it legit. We would keep a scorebook, and my mom had one of these like old school like typewriters. I would get index cards and like go through the scorebook and like type up what like each person's stat was. And it wasn't like, oh, what's Chris stats? It was like, oh, what is George Brett in our league? Because someone was the Royals one day, and then you're the Athletics another day. And it's interesting because nowadays you don't see this at all. I rarely see wiffle ball played by kids like 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like people older than us, our age or a little bit younger, in like these wiffle ball leagues now.
Yeah.
Kids would rather go on PS5 or Xbox and, play a video game as opposed to actually doing it. And I think that's what I did when I was a kid. And that's like one of my favorite, like, young ball games used to play stories. So we'll flip it up to John.
I used to, well, I grew up in kind of grew up in two neighborhoods actually when I was a kid. Grade school until seventh and eighth grade, I grew up in Port Richmond. So we used to play like wire ball, stick ball. The gutters were the bases pretty much. And we played even when we were psychos. We played even when it was raining. So we'd be like slipping, potential ACLs on like third base, and we didn't care.
So the
But
gutters, you mean like the sewers in the grounds were like your
yeah, like
bases?
on the corner, yeah, they were the bases.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. I remember like, hey, left tire, the left tire is first base, and there's the manhole cover that's second, and
Second
this
base.
other
Yeah.
car is third.
Well, that's because I lived right at Madison and Cedar, so like that corner had a gutter on each corner. So that's
Yeah.
why we made the bases that. It was kind of an oblong, weird field because like if like say I'm the batter here, well the gutters are the corners, but like Cedar Street is out of bounds foul ball. But if you knocked it towards Aramango, like that's like we would layer it. Like if you hit it on Aramango, it was automatic home run. It's like a block away. But um, what's crazy was like there was a store called Bill's right on the corner, Cedar and Madison. It was like your little. He sold baseball cards. He sold a little of everything, like little crafts, soda, snacks. He sold little home things. He had a little baseball card. That's where I got all my baseball cards when I was a kid, like back then. But he'd sell tennis balls too. But then every once in a while, to save money, like, yo, Bill, all them balls on the roof for we bought from here, like, can you? And he'd go up on the roof and like there'd be like 15 balls up there. It's like, all right.
Awesome.
And I was like, we'll keep the money coming in if we launch one over in Aramango. But yeah, we pretty much, and we used to play wiffle ball there too. We didn't play kickball because we would destroy someone's house. Like it was so close, like we would just destroy someone's window.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved up to Summerdale, like Oxford Circle. It was like the 1300 block of Van Kirk. We had the bases were different. Like it was the corner was home plate, and then like the one car would be first, another car would be second, and then there was a gutter for third base on Alma Street. But we played like wiffle ball, kickball, stickball the same way. But yeah, that's pretty much what we did to pass the time. And like you said, Chris, like some of the kids today, like they'd rather be on the computer or Xbox or PS or something, or rather to go outside. We just went. We stayed out. We didn't want to come home. Most kids just want to stay the hell in now. Like we didn't want to come home, and then like it got so dark. You weren't so far. Your mom would, yo, time to come in. You'd hear her down the block, and it was time to come roll in, or you got your ass beat, pretty much.
What about you, Dugan? What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I played a lot of the same games you guys talking about, wiffle ball and one bounce. I grew up up until seventh grade in Alny, and we used to play in Incarnation Schoolyard every day, one bounce up there. And we did the same thing, Chris. We kept stats, primarily home runs. We would track who hit the most home runs in the summer, and
were you running around bases, or was it over some fence or some
there
distance?
there was like there was garages that were in the back of the school, and it even had like a Fenway Park field. The one garage had like a fence on top of it to extend it higher. So, if you hit it over there, you felt like you hit it over the monster,
Yeah.
But we played some games. I don't know if we had some games in my neighborhood, especially in Alany. We played a game. We would call it Strike Zone. We called it Strike Zone, and you could play it with 2 guys, 5 guys, however many. Where the key, you had a pitcher and a catcher, and you would throw. You had to throw different pitches, curveballs, or whatever pitches you had. But the key was to get 3 outs in the least amount of pitches, with the catcher calling balls and strikes.
Okay.
So we would play that for hours. It didn't matter how. If you and just one other guy, we were like, hey, you want to play some some Strike Zone? Oh yeah, let's play Strike Zone. We would play it was like rundown. We would do it was kind of like a spring thing, but we did it as if it was a rundown. The guy had to try and get to the next base safely, but you had the ball in your glove and you were in a rundown the whole time.
Mhm.
And another one we used to play, we called it first base, where you would have your fielders and the first baseman would throw like a ground ball or chopper or whatever with the tennis ball, and he would count to like 3 Mississippi, and you had to get the ball to first base for the guy to be out. So you have again, you could do it with 2 guys, or have a whole infield, and he would throw them around the infield, and you would make plays. So they were just games that we made up, but to your point, kids don't do that anymore. And I felt like those kinds of games made me a better baseball player, because I was
Absolutely.
always catching a ball. Even like playing chink and wall ball and those types of things that we played. You're fielding, those rubber balls off the wall. You got to have quick
Yeah.
hands like an infielder,
Yeah.
And so I think all those stupid little games that we used to play not only enhanced our love for the game, but made us better ball players too, And like John, you said, we would go out 8 o'clock in the morning in the summer, maybe run home, stuff down a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at lunchtime, and run back out till dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it was still light out, we'd be out in the street throwing up wire ball, right on the corner.
Yep.
And it was all day, all night, and just fun games, great memories. With a great neighborhood. Growing up.
Chris, when you were playing one bounce, what type of bat did you use?
It was usually like a cut down hockey stick or a broom or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was I'm thinking like wiffle ball bats, and we used to stuff them with
We
wet
could stuff them.
paper.
Yeah, we guys had that.
Then
You put
electric.
newspaper in, wet the newspaper.
Yep.
Yeah, tape it up. Yeah, we did all that. Yeah.
One of the memories, because I was curious, it was a broomstick. I don't know how old I was. I was young. My mom got a newer broomstick, and it was like perfect. So I cut it. I just cut it, and I didn't say anything, right? So like eventually, like my mom is gonna find out. It's just like she's like, "Do you know anything about this?" And I says, "Oh yeah." I says, "I was sweeping up, and there was no like little broom, so this is like a little whisk broom, so you can just sweep it up on the floor." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And she's like, "What the hell are you talking about, you dumbass? You cut the damn thing, or using it for baseball. I know what you're doing." And I was like, "Yeah, I was just trying to help out. You needed a little whisk broom,
That help me help you.
Right. I'll go over to the comments and see what we have here. So Cindy, thank you for joining. She's going to look for you on TV. John, so that's good. I think you might be able to get TV time, because I guess a lot of Phillies go, but not a lot of Phillies are wearing Zubaz and
Right.
awesome shades. So hopefully you kind of get able to see yourself. It would be cool for us. Hopefully we can make Schwarber steady DH. I think Harper has to play first every day.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Schwarber out there at all. And hopefully
Yeah.
Thompson sees like what just happened the past game. Like Schwarber doesn't make that play that Cave made against the fence. He doesn't even get close. It might be a triple, but he's stopping before that. So pair of Jordans from St. Louis, Montgomery and Hicks. Sig, that would be kind of cool,
Yeah.
Pair of
I can get
Jordans.
I would not be opposed.
Trade Harrison, call Cody up. I don't know who wants Harrison, but I'd be happy to trade him. Maybe he wants a reunion with Kutch. We can get him for Bednar Keller. That might work out. All right, so let me see. Philip, if the lineup does what they were built to do, we have much offense as anyone. So, he also wants a bullpen, and Harry has quite a few. Alleys, they played in the schoolyard behind my grandmother's house on Colgate. So that was one of the, and Wireball. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite ones too. We used to climb on the roof to get our sponge ball. Yeah, I definitely remember like hanging the smallest kid down the gutter.
Down the sewer,
down the gutter. Yeah, like I'm thinking like Milek balls. Like there was the pink one, the blue one, and the orange one. They
You gotta
definitely
hang
went down the damn gutters at some point. And then on our viewers also put some Facebook comments. So I want to call these people out as well. So John J., any correlation with Trey Turner not starting and the amount of double plays last night from the defensive perspective? So, Chris, what do you think about this? Like, they did have a bunch of double plays.
They did.
Coincidence?
I think it was. I've thought all season long that part of the issue with them turning double plays is Stott moving from short to second. That maybe he's not as crisp making that pivot from second base, and he does seem to have kind of a long throw with his arm, being a shortstop. You know, the shortstop's got a longer release. So I think that's something that he can definitely improve upon, which would help us turn double plays more often. Not to say Turner's not been a problem, because he's not real crisp either with, you know, getting that ball from glove to hand to you know, to the second baseman. And that's been a problem. And that kills your pitching staff when the double play balls, you know, you got to turn it. So it was nice to see them do it last night, but I don't think it's 100% a Turner problem.
Okay, and then I'll put this one to John. So Steve Mold is asking, does Trey Turner stay batting second, in your opinion, after the trade deadline?
Well, it goes back to what we were saying before. I'd give him. I don't think I'd keep him at second, but I'd keep him somewhere. I'd drop him a little bit. If he doesn't, like, I'd give him a chance until the deadline to see what he does. But after the deadline, I'm trying to, like Dugan was saying earlier, maybe like 6 or 7. Like, I don't know about 7, as far as 7, but maybe the 6th spot. I don't know if that works or not.
Yep.
But you could also, you could also mess around, like you said earlier too. I don't think the Schwarber leadoff's going anywhere for a while. But I mean, if I was the manager, I would just try throwing him back at leadoff and see what the hell happens. He only, like someone, like I said earlier, someone on the radio said, like, he only got like maybe 13 or 14 games at leadoff before Topper just, you know, upended it and switched it all up. So
yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
Yep. So the next, Chris, this one goes to you and I. So Max K is asking, any update on when the DPF wives might join the podcast?
Yeah. I mean, we had that conversation the other night at the garage there on the Christmas in July, and we have one wife that's a little reluctant to join. So I think we have to work on her.
Yeah.
We might have to, you know, bribe her with some twisted teas or something, you know.
That might work. I mean, it's not going to hurt things, I would say.
I think it would be great. I think it would be fun if they got on there, because I think they'd both be great. I think they'd both be funny, and I think it would be awesome. I would love to do it.
I'd love to have a takeover show. You know, let them take over the show. We'll do half of it. We're not even here, and they can say whatever they want about us, and just have viewers kind of like chime in. I'm sure there'll be 1,000 things people are asking. Christine is asking, you know, what do we want more in a trade? And we kind of talked about that. We went around the room. You know, she's asking a right-handed outfielder, depth for pitching. I think all of us kind of had a little bit of different idea. John wanted offense. I wanted bullpen. And I think Chris wanted bullpen too. So, but we were like more, you know, pitching. Chris G is asking, any chance to get a pitcher before the deadline? I think they do get a pitcher. I don't think that there's any chance they don't. If they do nothing, they'll do that. But I guess we'll see. All right. So we're going to move on to our kind of next thing, and we're going to turn it over to John, and he's going to do our minor leaguer of the week.
Yeah, my guy for this week is Alex McFarland, right-handed pitcher for the Threshers. He's 6'3", 215 pounds. Virgin Islands. He's our 8th overall Phil's prospect overall in the organization. 4th rounder from 2022. This year so far, he's 0-3, 3.72 ERA, 12 games started. Hitters are only hitting 234 off him so far this year, so it's not bad. they have him as a reliever right now, but the belief is he's going to be a big league starter one day. He's he's only got 3 pitches right now. He's got a 2-seamer and a 4-seamer. His fastball's up to 98 to 99 miles per hour right now, which I feel, and I hear he's got a nice split changeup. I would like to see him develop another pitch as he moves up the ranks. If they say he's going to be a starter, and I'm hearing teams have been calling, even though he's just at Clearwater, they've been doing their due diligence and calling about him, seeing about asking how quickly he can evolve into that starter type or whatever. But I haven't really seen him play. I've seen him play like one game so far, so I'm not too familiar with him yet. But I'm just going off like I've just been digging and researching and all. But I would like to see the kid get to that level where he's a big league starter. And if not, we could always use a reliever in the ranks. So.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I was thinking like I like this segment, kind of like learning about people that maybe I didn't even know about. And I'm thinking like once I can figure this out, I'd like to bring their picture up on the screen, or even some of their stats. So when you're talking to them, people can see them. I think that would be helpful.
That'd be super cool.
Yeah. So we're at about an hour now. We're gonna go and talk about our favorite Phillies players of all time next time. So we're going to go into the Phils Make Me Drink, and I'm going to ask Dugan to start that off.
Yeah, so this week, the Phils Make Me Drink, it's the roller coaster ride that these games have become. And I think you can kind of see it on the page, the way the tone changes, because it without fail, they're falling behind early in the game. And the pitcher sucks, the offense sucks, Topper sucks, everybody sucks. But they then start climbing up the hill and take us on the joyride of battling back, and the bats start getting big hits, and Topper starts looking like a genius because we wanted to kill him yesterday for playing Jake Cave over Rojas, and he gets 2 hits and makes a great fucking play out in left field. And, so it's that roller coaster ride that the Phillies, the first 4 innings of the game, I'm drinking to drown my sorrows, going, we suck. This is awful, and then the last 4 or 5 innings, I'm celebrating. We're ringing the bell in the garage, jumping around like,
Oh, it's like the World Series.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So it's that roller coaster that this team's putting us on right now that makes me drink in a good way and a bad way. But it as long as they keep battling, I'll keep drinking. So it works perfect,
Yeah.
John,
where you at? Yeah.
Mine's a positive again, and I promise I won't do this next week. I'll be negative next week because I wanted to, but it's not Phillies. It's mostly you guys will enjoy this too. It's MLB related, but there's rumors, and it's gaining steam, that next year at the All-Star game, the All-Star weekend, there could be potentially a Legends home run derby. Now, Jason Stark reported that the likes of Pujols, Tomey, Griffey Jr., and Big Poppy and such have expressed a big interest in the event should it take place. I think that would be very cool to see some of the guys we grew up with, like even recent guys within the last 10 years or so that have retired, slamming balls. Now, I think, my opinion, like if it sounds like it's just those 4 in the article right now, my idea is make it an 8-guy derby. Expand it to 8 legends, like, recently retired within the last 15, 20 years, or like 10, 15 years or so. And hold it before the Futures game or something. Make it like an extra night. Like, how the regular derby is right before the celebrity game, usually. Like, have this before the Futures game. Make like a whole weekend out of it. Make it accessible, as I said on the one other episode, not the Peacock crap. Just keep it on ESPN and MLB Network so everybody could see it. And I think it would draw a lot of ratings. Like, Ken Griffey Jr. is my favorite player, like, ever. So to see him yakking, Like again, like I don't know how old he is now, but he was taking bat practice at All-Star game this year, and just to see him just raking, like I think it'll be cool. So I hope it does happen.
I love that
Yeah,
idea.
that
I
yeah, that's
love it.
super cool. It made me think like when it's here, I want to see the bull. I know he's like
Yeah,
gonna be like
that
85,
was
but I'm
And
like
it
the bull
reminds me of
blast.
those.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
remember those
awesome.
when we were
Dick
kids?
Allen
Yeah.
and the versus the bull, that was badass.
that's exactly what I
Um,
was thinking, Chris. Maybe make it like a legend from the home team
the
that
home area.
like next year's in Texas, so maybe like a Juan Gonzalez or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, Jeff
Dig him out.
Burrows.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I love that
yeah, that
idea.
would
I
be
really
super
do.
cool. What makes me drink, and this is like absolutely driving me crazy. And I promise I'm not going to go on a tirade today, yet, but we're not done. I am so sick of our pitchers giving up home runs, our starters, and it feels like we're not hitting the other starter up. Like Nola constantly giving up home runs, Suarez with the 3-run bomb. Like, tagging on to your thing, Chris, like we're playing from behind. Wouldn't it be nice if like one of our guys hit some home runs? But we don't have home run hitters on our team except for the number one guy. No one else is a home run hitter right now. Harper will be at some point. So I kind of get it. And that's like, I know that Schwarber's not going to move down, but god damn, I'd love to see him hit a 3-run homer, once in his life here. It feels like it's constantly a 1 or 2-run home run. But
mhm.
our guys are just kind of getting dinged, and I don't know what it is. And then, the second part of that is I wonder, I was looking at Turner's fly ball stats versus ground ball. He's like trying to hit the ball out of the goddamn park. And maybe what happened in the World Baseball Classic was not good for him long term. And, coming here and he wants to hit 25 or 30, where like, dude, hit 330 and hit 15 home runs, score 100 runs, and get 30 to 40 stolen bases. And like, you're a damn studs. Like, it would just be awesome. But as far as, making me drink, it's that, the pitchers just, inopportune times, men on base, 0-2 counts, because Suarez's 0-2 home run to Rutsch, it's an 0-2 count. How many
Yeah.
of these goddamn home runs are 0-2 counts? Like, throw it out of the goddamn strike zone. That's what makes me fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Goddamn ahead in
Back
the count.
back to your Turner point. I'm wondering if you can make a correlation to his season and coming off, kind of a power surge at the World Baseball Classic to some of these guys that participate in the home run derby, and then the second half of the year they can't
Sapped
hit.
out.
They got warning track power. They can't they can't drive the ball. If maybe he did change his swing a little to hit for power at the
Yeah,
World Baseball Classic, and he hasn't been able to self correct and get back to being that line drive hitter that he's been his whole career. I mean, he's hitting 50 points below his career average. I
it's
mean,
crazy.
he's too good.
It's
He's
just
too good
nuts.
for that. Just too good for that.
All right, so I'm just going to go to a few more comments because I see some pop in. So Steve is asking, are we not in the garage because it's hot as balls out? Yes, that's exactly why. So throughout the day, I have like a thermometer in there. I don't have AC and I don't have heat in there. So it's just fans and the luck of the weather. But I started looking and I was like texting the guys. I says, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this today because normally it's like, it's hot in there still. It's like 80 to 86. I look, it was 86 at like 10 a.m. And then at like 4, it was like up to 92. So yeah, that's why we're not in there this week. It just we would have been sweating too bad. Yeah, the Legends game is another thing that
Yeah.
Scott brought up here. That's a really cool idea. I like that. Mike Waukee. So Dugan
Hey,
and I know
Walk.
him, Roman guy and local neighborhood guy, even though he lived on the other side of the boulevards from us, Chris. Mike's a
Yeah,
great dude. Thanks for
love
tuning in.
Walk.
That's awesome. It's great to see some guys on there. And so I think that's about it. Let's see. The umpires, oh yeah, the umpires. A few people have mentioned the umpires being like why they're drinking because they have been brutal recently, and maybe I'll go on a tirade next time.
Yeah.
So that's DPF is like we have some T-shirts on phillysportshirts.com. directly through DPF, and Dugan handles them. So like stickers and magnets. So I've been working on something myself, and I want to bring it out to everyone right now. So this is going to be brand new. We're making a men's cologne. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, so it's DPF men's cologne. It's for foul balls. It can be used anywhere. So what I did with this was it's 2 parts Schuylkill River water, 2 parts Arctic Splash. I actually kept some hot dogs from the last Dollar Dog Night at Vet Stadium. So they're just kind of like stewing in there. And it's like in one of those bags, like a potpourri bag. And yo, this smells delightful. Like you just sprinkle a little bit on like this. And the DPF wife is already like, wow, like who's this guy? Like you just get more handsomer, more kinder, more nicer. It's the best thing. So look for DPF Foul Balls cologne in your local Wanamakers soon. Probably Strawbridges as well. And you know,
Clover.
Clover.
Yeah.
They're all going to be there. So I think it's going to be a big hit for everyone. So. Appreciate everyone joining in. I'm looking at all the comments coming through. They've just been awesome. We appreciate the support. And, you know, episode 7, we're going to take a week off, vacation week. So we're going to take a week off and we're going to join you back towards the tail end of like August 8th or so. Look for our episode 8 to come out. I normally have been doing the sign-off special, but I just want to still say, because it's so close, fuck Scott Rowland. Fuck Joe Carter. Honestly, fuck Gary Carter, too. May he rest in peace. And fuck the Mets. So, you know, thanks for everyone, and have a good rest of your day. And go Phils.
Go Phils.
Go Phils.